On.
In this video, sixth graders, we are going to continue our Comparing Governments unit. We're going to look at the different types of governments and how they are similar and different. We're studying three main types of government: democracy, dictatorship, and monarchy. What is it that makes these governments different? Let's look at the question of who has the power. The most important thing that distinguishes the governments is who has the power, the few or the many. I like to think about it as a continuum of governments. I'll say that word again, continuum. This graphic shows what I mean by a continuum. So we have this line right here. And a continuum means that different things fall in different parts of the line. So for example, governments that are democratic over here are the kinds of governments in which the many have the power. For example, democracy is a kind of democratic government because in democracy, the many have the power. On the other side of this thing called the continuum, we have authoritarian governments. In authoritarian governments, the few have the power. An example of an authoritarian government is a dictatorship. So it falls over here on the continuum. I put another example, our class, and it's kind of right in the middle. Because sometimes the many have the power. Sometimes we vote on things and a lot of people get to choose what we're going to do. And for example, during transition time, you get to choose the activity that you want to do. So sometimes the many have the power. And then sometimes the few have the power. So for example, I get to decide what we're going to learn about next, or I get to decide what homework we're going to have. So since sometimes the many have the power and sometimes the few have the power, our class is kind of right in the middle of the continuum. What about monarchy? We have a good idea of what democracy and dictatorship mean and where they fall in the continuum, where they go. But monarchy is tricky because there are two different kinds of monarchy. There's absolute monarchy and there's constitutional monarchy. In absolute monarchy, a king or a queen has all of the power. An absolute monarchy is similar to a dictatorship. The next is a constitutional monarchy. In a constitutional monarchy, power is shared. The Constitution of the country says that a king or a queen has to work with a government elected by the people. Let's review what we've learned in this lesson. The main thing that distinguishes governments is who has the power, the few or the many. Governments fall on a continuum. In authoritarian governments, the few have the power. In democratic governments, the many have the power. There are two types of monarchy. Absolute monarchy, which is authoritarian, and constitutional monarchy, which is more democratic. That's our lesson for today.